Well, we're populating this now with resistors and capacitors. We've got a few more yet to put on, and I'll come back when we're putting these ICs on. And as I said at the beginning, these two and a couple of other odds and bods was already on the board. So when I've done the rest of these little ones, I'll come back. Got most of the board populated now. I'm just putting on these ICs. Again, I just use a bit of the jelly flux on the contacts. The ICs have an orientation. I don't know if you can see the little spot by the end of my nail. That indicates pin 1, and the U shape in the top of the printing on the PCB, the U shape indicates that pin 1 is at that end. So I just pop him on there. I don't tin up the pads first. I still do what I do all the way through, and that's preload the soldering iron, and then trying to get it so you can see it and I can see it. I've just have to fetch it closer to me to line it up. But I just line it up, and I put one dab on one leg. I put a dab on that bottom leg, and then I check that it's all lined up, and if I need to move it one way or another, because it's only fastened by one leg, you can push it, but that looks, maybe it wants to come just a tad that way. That looks pretty good. I'll just put another dab on another leg at the front here. So that's all lined up, and we've got two legs. Two legs done. Now for the rest of them, as I say, I just preload the soldering iron, and then just go touch each leg. Like that. Obviously keeping the soldering iron on the pad as well. And that's one side done. Whizzing round. Bit more solder on the iron. And come down the other side. One, two, buckle my shoe, and I just put a bridge on there, which we will have to sort out. You can even slide it down the row if you want, but I do prefer to go into each one, and you can see it flash around the leg. Now I've got to get rid of that bridge. I'll just clean my iron off. With a bit of luck it should just drag out. With a bit of bad luck I'll have to get the braid out. There we go. I've got rid of the bridge, and then you examine them and make sure that you have got them all, because there's a few of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these processors to put on. Obviously one dry joint on one of them is going to throw it all over the place, so I'll carry on and I'll pop them on. Thankfully my underpants haven't gone on fire yet, so we can continue. Right, so far we've got this board populated nearly. All we're short of is the electrolytic caps, and what else was the crystal, but that's on the other side. It solders on this side, but it's actually mounted on the other side of the board. Oh, and there, that's where the infrared sensor mounts. We've got to pop that on. That's not a lot of hardship. And the other thing I just wanted to point out is here it's got 2 solder pads, and it says it's a 39 NF. But when you look at the, I couldn't find one in the bits, but when you look in the at the photograph on the instructions, you can see those 2 pads are vacated. There's nothing on them, so we'll proceed on that basis. There's nowit to go on it. So, oh, the other thing that's got to go on is the battery. That goes by here. So it's just 1 or 2, 3, 4 things to put on there, and the board's finished. Also a set of pins here which is used to program the main chip when you get round to that. Put a set of pins on there. L1 escapes me for a second. Yeah, it escaped me altogether. It looks, according to the drawing, that there is some soldering, and there should be a component underneath, but right, no. back L1 is line in, and that's from the induction coil. When it's mounted, that's where it gets its power from. So we know what that is now. So I'll pop these caps and odd bits and pieces in, and I'll come back in a few minutes. But other than that, we appear to be almost there. We have, of course, still got another one of these orbits to populate, but we have the technology. Right, see you soon. Well, the main board's complete now. I've got everything on it. The only other thing to watch out for is there's a capacitor marked there and there. Just look at the instructions like I didn't, and you can see on the picture that they've got there is no component in those 2. only two capacitors, these 470 U's electrolytic, are on the end of the board. So yes, that's complete now. Infrared, battery, connection for the programmer, ASP programmer I think it is. It's just got a positive, negative, got a VCC plus 5 volts I think they are, and a negative, and a TX and an RX in the middle. I can't think of anything else. Slip him over, we've got the crystal and the infrared receiver. This is what gives it its timing when it's spinning round. And yes, so the next thing to move on to, I think, is the fitting of this year bearing and the inductive or induction wire there. I have noticed that the programming pins, when you turn it over, interfere with the bearing. So I've got to sort that. I can't clip them any lower on what they are, so I think I'll have to take a bit out of the bearing. So that will sit flat on there at the moment. You see it's cocked up because of the pins. So that's, don't say anything about that in the instruction, so that's something I'm going to have to look at now. I don't want to build it up. So there's a couple of screws hold that on. Doesn't show them. Anyway, I'll come back when I've got a bit more. I've still got the nightmare of this. It's still hanging around like a bad smell, but we have got one of them. Right, I'll see you soon. There we are. I think that's the finished motherboard, obviously without the two LED crescents on. But all the components are on that now. So job's a good one. I'll move on to the next stage, which is, I don't know yet, building the motor. Maybe. I'm just putting off the other crescent for a minute. So we'll have a look at the motor and the power pack that you've got to build. The power pack comes in a separate little bag, so there's some more surface mount components and there's a little circuit board in there to put them on. So I'll open that in a minute and we'll have a look. There are some balance weights which have got to go on this, but I'm going to leave them off until I've got the crescents soldered in, because they've got to be soldered in along here. Right, back soon. Bye. P.S. I forgot to say, the induction coil I've held on as per instructions with some hot glue. You do actually get a stick of hot glue with the kit, which you can melt with a little lighter or something, but if you have a hot glue gun like me, you can squeeze it all over. Cheers. We're back and we've got all the bits out of the bag. for the power pack, and we've got a little PCB. I think that's the sender LED for the synchronization. We've got an IC, we've got several packets with surface mount caps and resistors. We've got a big capacitor, which is, oh, it's only 470 UF, 16 volt. We've got a power connector, perhaps that's the sender. So we've got a couple of LEDs as well, and a switch, and some power connectors, just connectors. So I'll start on that, I'll populate this board, and I'll come back when we've got a little bit of it populated. Oh, and you get a bit of shrink tubing as well. I don't think this is going to take too long. Again, it's all marked up, so... Oh, it's got a diode. Oh, that'll be, sorry, yeah. No, surface mount diode. D2. Right, we'll have a look at the instructions and we'll get a wiggle on. Back in a moment or two. The power pack is finished. The only thing I've got to do now is connect these sets of wires and put either, where appropriate, a power connector or LED or the induction coil or the motor onto them, and then they all just plug into the power board, which is very nice. So I'll continue with that, and I'll come back. Hello. Yeah, I'm packing up now. Alright, love. See you in a minute. Love you. Bye.